Thanks, Philip. Just making my screen available. Well, good afternoon. My name is Neil Wright, and for this demo, I'm the CEO of a company called Contoso that manufactures and sells audiovisual equipment. I joined the company about a year ago, and since then we've defined a number of key performance indicators, or KPIs, that we use to evaluate the state of the business. We display these KPIs in a single central dashboard that is visible in the AX Role Center, SharePoint Intranet, and Zap BI portal to ensure that everyone in the business can see how we're doing from day to day. Not only is the dashboard visible to everybody in the organization, but the management team actively uses it to focus on their goals and objectives. I must just point out that I'm working in the Zap BI portal on this occasion, and also that you need to imagine that we are back in 2009. The reason for this will become clear later. The first thing I do every day is review the KPIs in the business scorecard of the dashboard. The KPIs are grouped into the financial, business processes, and customer perspectives to recognize that to be successful in the long term, we have to focus not only on the current financial situation, but also on customer retention and competitiveness. To provide a deeper understanding of the business from this central point, the scorecard also indicates trends, and the dashboard contains other data, such as a chart showing the monthly sales and gross margin movement over the last year. As you can see, I am quickly and easily able to compare my company's achievements with our agreed targets and decide what action to take, be it points of discussion for the monthly meetings or tactical actions to take right now. So looking at the KPIs in my scorecard today, I still see a number of cautionary amber and red indicators. Looking at the overall business score, the lower and upper boundaries for the green indicator have been set at 85% and 100% respectively, with the actual score coming in at about 80%. The business is obviously below standard at this stage. When I look at each of the perspectives that make up the business score, I can see that the financial perspective is currently very good, driven primarily by the gross margin score, which is well above target for the month. However, I want to focus on other perspectives at the moment because there are a number of red indicators. Most concerning is the customer perspective, which stands at 30% of target for this month. It contains only one KPI, which indicates that a significant percentage of sales have been lost. This could indicate customer dissatisfaction, and my two customer-focused gauges in the dashboard, customer OTIF, down in the right-hand corner, and customer churn, bear this out. In terms of sales orders being delivered on time and in full, or OTIF, the pop-up, which should come up in a moment, doesn't unfortunately, but it highlights the fact that we are down at 85% compared to the previous month's 90% and a target of 95%. The values can be seen in much smaller detail down below as well. There we go, there's the pop-up. The customer churn of 1.5% against a target of 1.1% just strengthens my fears about customer dissatisfaction. Before I contact my sales director, I just want to understand the lost sales situation a little more. We were losing significant sales a year ago, but had brought it under control. Now we have a significant spike in lost sales again this month. We have a very revealing lost sales trend report in our Zap Reports repository that we created when we were overcoming this issue last year. I'll just click on the icon next to the lost sales KPI to open it. Once this report appears, we'll see that the red line in the report will indicate, this is taking a moment to open up, the red line indicates that the trend of lost sales and confirms my belief that we have kept this issue under control for the last few months, but it has suddenly become a problem again this month. For more detail on the makeup of the lost sales value for this month, I can right-click on the lost sales amount for June 2009 in the data table and select from a list of reports, including one that displays, right down at the bottom here, the AX transactional data. However, I'm going to ask my sales director to investigate this problem further. I'll initiate an email from ZAP BI by clicking on the Home tab and clicking on the email icon. The email will contain a PDF attachment of the lost sales trend report that we've just seen, and I'll add a message requesting an investigation down here. For now, though, I'm going to cancel the email. I've shown you briefly how we monitor the business from day to day using the dashboard, but I must mention that we also hold monthly review meetings to see how we've performed during the previous month. We have a suite of management reports for these meetings and use ZAP's report pack functionality to produce a single PDF document containing all of these reports. I have the monthly flash report open to give you an idea of the reports that I've dragged and dropped into the report pack file. To eliminate manual report distribution, we've used ZAP's scheduled event functionality to generate the monthly flash report as a PDF document at 11 a.m. on the first day of each new month and email it to the members of the management team. The report pack can take from mere seconds to a few minutes to generate, depending on the number of reports in the pack and the volume of data being aggregated for each report. So, in the interests of time, I've run the monthly flash report already. Here it is in a separate browser tab. I'm able to scroll down through the reports, some of which you've already seen. I must just point out that managers' business commentaries can also be included in the report packs, although there are none in this particular one. As a matter of interest, we not only use ZAP's scheduled events, but also conditional events, although this is usually to trigger email alerts when, for example, the month-to-date sales fall below target. So there you go, business management using dashboards, report packs, and automation in ZAP BI. At this point, I cease to be the CEO of Contoso and become a product manager in the organization. I'm analyzing overstocked and understocked products that have been sold this month, and I need a report to build this. My apologies, I need to build a report to do this. Because of time constraints in this demo, I'm going to show you very briefly how quick and easy it is using ZAP's AX Hypercube to create a report containing data from all areas of the business. I won't take up time explaining the steps in too much detail, but we'll be happy to arrange a more comprehensive presentation for you in the near future. So today as product manager, I'm reviewing the over and understock situation of each of our active products. To do this, I need to create a report that contains sales data, outstanding purchase order information, stock on hand quantities, as well as lead time data from the product master. If we were using the multiple cubes that are standard in Dynamics AX 2012, it would, to all intents and purposes, be impossible to create a single report containing all this data. It could be done with a SQL Server Reporting Services or SSRS report, but we would need a report developer skilled in T-SQL code to write and fine-tune a complex query and then design and format a report that contains this query. I would then need to spend time validating the report. However, using ZAP's single hypercube as my source of data, I can just go ahead and build a report. To start creating the over-under stocked reports, I click on the new tab in the ZAP BI portal, and to create a rows and columns report, I click on the analysis report icon. In the connection dialog box that's going to come up, I confirm that we're using ZAP's AX Hypercube called Dynamics AX and click OK. Now, because I'm focusing on AX data for just the current month, I go to the date dimension and drag current month into my slices section. As you can see, my current month, which is June in the demo data, June 2009, is now displayed as a filter. And I want to list my products in the rows of my report. So I go to the items dimension and drag items into my rows section. Now the measures or values from across the business are going to be placed in the columns area of my report canvas. Firstly, to see the average daily sales quantity, I go to the sales invoice lines measure group and drag in average daily invoice sales quantity. I'll just do that again. Right. To see my stock situation for each product, I need two measures from the inventory measure group. That is the stock on hand quantity and average stock days. To see if I have any outstanding purchase orders which could impact on my stock on hand situation, I go down to the purchase lines measure group and drag in purchase order outstanding quantity. And because I'm going to use lead time information from my product master data to evaluate my over or understock situation, I go to the items measure group and drag in max purchase lead time. Now to compare my average stock days with my lead time, I'm going to create a calculation on the fly. Give the calculation a name, over under stocked days. I drag in my average stock days, enter in a minus sign, drag in my maximum purchases lead time, and then click apply. I could now exclude zero value of the formula, but instead I'll sort the report in descending order according to the average daily sales quantity by clicking on the sorting arrow in the column heading. As you can see, in QuickTime I've created a very informative report which can be used immediately because the data is from a validated cube. Just looking at one example, the first item in the report, I can immediately see that with a lead time of 14 days and only about 10 days worth of stock, the report indicates that we're probably going to run out of stock in about 4 days before we can get the next delivery in, unless I can make an alternative plan right now. So I must be on my way. The CEO and product manager of Contoso have barely scratched the surface of ZAP BI. Hopefully, though, you've seen how it can be used to monitor the business, carry out ad hoc analysis, automate the delivery of reports, and even build reports that are difficult or impossible to build in other reporting options. There is so much more to ZAP. In particular, ZAP's must-have product, Cube Express, which enables you to make changes to your ZAP AX Cube, for example, to bring in a new table or field from Dynamics AX, instead of calling on a developer with multiple expensive SQL Server skills every time you need a change. We would be happy to arrange an appointment to show Cube Express to you. With that, I'll hand you back to Philip. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Neil.
I passed it over to you now, Philip.
Thank you very much. So, as Neil says there, we're more than happy to do a demonstration for you. Obviously, when you're looking at standard data like that, it probably doesn't mean a lot. We are happy to take some of your data, obviously after having signed the appropriate confidentiality detail forms, and use that and show that to you to show how easy it is to use Zap and get Zap up and running. What we've shown you today is a fairly simplistic demonstration around the Zap product. A product that can take information from Dynamics AX, other Dynamics products, or other SQL applications, and even other databases. It's got data management in it, it's got data presentation in different styles and formats, the integration of Dynamics and the ability to then put that information out onto a role center, and a lot of already pre-done analysis, and especially around wholesale distribution, manufacturing and retail specific vertical industry solutions. PwC have recently done some analysis of the AX market. They found that 75% of customers that they interviewed had reporting issues due to poor data migration. Fine. The key thing to me was not enough reporting focus early on in the project. And if you're going to do an upgrade, and especially to 2012, there's obviously going to be a lot of work. I've heard people say to me, we're going to do an upgrade by the end of this year. What we'll do is we'll have a look at this Zap product. Looks interesting after we've done that. I have to say to me, yes, I'm a salesman, so I'm going to want to push it. But to me, that's wrong. What you want to do is to get Zap in, get it working on your existing data. Then when you upgrade, it's much more easy to change that, use it, and get the information out that you want. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our half hour up. I'd like to thank you very much for your interest today. If there are any quick questions and people want to put them down, please do. My details and our details of our company, InfoData Solutions, are on the screen in front of you now. Please feel free to either A, give us a call or send us an email with any of your questions, or if anybody would like to have a far greater in-depth look at the product and what it can do, and especially if you'd like to have it done with your data. We can arrange that, show you the real power of Zap. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll call a halt to this. As I say, if anybody wants to get in touch with us, please do. And thank you very much for your time today.